So today I want to talk about JD Spielman entering the transfer portal and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about JD Spielman and Nebraska because, well, Spielman entered the transfer portal earlier today. This on the day when we expected many Big Ten schools to welcome their players back, and they have in large part. And yet the top returning receiver for the Nebraska Cornhuskers is, well, in the portal, even as Scott Frost expects JD to show up for summer conditioning at some point. We'll see how that works. And what you're losing here is a guy that's got over 2,500 yards receiving and had 898 yards receiving on 49 catches last year in a piss-poor offense. And yet still, the Huskers still barely missed out on bowl eligibility. They needed a win against Iowa, and man, it don't look like it's getting any easier for Scott Frost up in Lincoln. Now, I need to add in here, Scott Frost in year 2 last year was supposed to be the magic year, and this year, you're hoping for a magic year. And if you don't get it together this year with a non-conference slate that includes Cincinnati, Central Michigan, and South Dakota State, 2021 ain't gonna be the year, dog. It ain't gonna give you the year. Like, I took a look at the 21 schedule because Oklahoma's on the schedule for Nebraska, and I really wanted to see that game, and that game's gonna be at Owen Field. And then they got Ohio State and Michigan State and Michigan all on the 21 schedule. Yo, like, if Scott Frost were not able to get it done this year, there's a good argument for Scott Frost being fired at the end of the year. And then there's an even better argument that he does not get it all together by 21, because that right now looks like one of the toughest schedules in the country based on what we know about the recruiting classes coming in and how good those football teams have been here recently. And you would be getting Michigan State, the weakest of those 4 teams that I just mentioned, coming off of 1 year of Mel Tucker and Scotty Hazelton trying to do the damn thing at East Lansing. It ain't what you want. And I get that there's a lot caught up in Adrian Martinez, and people really want him to be good. I thought last year he was going to be better than he was. I was wrong. And then you come back to this knowledge that JD Spielman is like school record holder for receiving yards, which is like being the world's tallest little person at Nebraska, because they don't really throw the ball like that in the first place. I mean, the best Nebraska teams are Tom Osborne's teams, and they ran triple option. They ran option. The best team, according to some, in the history of college football is Tommy Harris's option team. Okay? And even when it wasn't Tommy Harris, it was Eric Crouch. This is a college team that just ran the football. That's all they wanted to do. Now you bring in Scott Frost, who, coming off of a magic year at Central Florida, was expected to get it done at Nebraska, a place where he got it done once before as a quarterback. And I get that. It just ain't been going the way that he wants it to go. You have 14 players that have entered the portal in the Frost era, and that's not a good look. Even as Scott Frost seems to be a very, very cool and nice guy, up there with Clay Helton as one of the nicest guys in college football, and he looks like the kind of man polos were actually invented to be worn by, just all shoulders and chest and looking the part, but he needs some help. He needs some help defensively. He needs some help offensively. And in the Big Ten West, which is the weaker of the two, I mean, it's the JV division of the Big Ten Conference, you would expect them to be able to compete. But what has happened is PJ Fleck and Minnesota have come out of nowhere, like the RKO, Randy Orton style, to kind of sun parts of that division, even as Wisconsin seems to be lording over it. Iowa's always there. And we're looking at Nebraska like we're looking at Illinois. And Illinois was bowl eligible last year. Matter of fact, Lovie Smith sat down at the lectern and he said, "We're going bowling." And he was so excited about it after getting a really great win against a Wisconsin team that played in the Big Ten championship game and the Rose Bowl with Jonathan Taylor, who might have been the best running back in college for the last 3 years. Nobody was really given any Heisman consideration whatsoever. I say all that to say, I want Nebraska to be good because, like Arkansas, college football's better when Nebraska is a good football team. College football's more fun when Nebraska is a good football team. And it wasn't that long ago that Nebraska was playing for conference championships. Matter of fact, Ndamukong Suh sunned on Texas, even in a game that Nebraska lost, and should have won the Heisman in the year that it went to Mark Ingram. Because anybody who was watching Ndamukong Suh play defensive tackle knows that he was the best player in college football of the year, not unlike Chase Young last year for the Ohio State. It's not good news if you're a Nebraska fan. And it ain't like you can just go back to running the ball because, Marcus Washington ain't there no more. Remember that? Yeah. And they were talking about bringing out the black shirts. Might want to keep the black shirts in the closet. Even as Nebraska fans are starved for something like a winner, and now they got to look at Bo Pelini being back in the FBS when he got fired, mostly because he didn't get along with fans and alumni. He had a winning record, and he's better than Mike Riley, and he's better than Bill Callahan. So far, he's been orders of magnitude better than Scott Frost. I get walking out of the tunnel with that cat in your hands doesn't make anybody feel warm and fuzzy, and I get that the Deadspin audio makes you feel some kind of way about Bo Pelini, but the thing that you have to say about Bo Pelini is that he could coach some defense. You take a look at those defenses he put into function both at LSU years ago and at Nebraska and then at Youngstown State here recently. You're not going to get a good argument that he is not one of the best to do it, and he's also able to recognize talent defensively. I know that there are Nebraska fans that would rather be in this state that they are right now, which is enduring losing while they got the coach that they like. But there are some Nebraska fans that don't really care whether or not they like the coach. They want to see double-digit wins in a season, and I don't begrudge them any of that. I'd also add in here that if you are a Nebraska fan, you count yourself as a Husker, I feel for you because this has got to be the year. If this is not the year for Nebraska, 21 ain't going to be the year. It's not going to be the year. It's not. Let's take a look at your schedule in 20. And then let's take a look at your schedule in 21. All right. So in 20, Purdue, Central Michigan, South Dakota State, Cincinnati. Then you ought to be able to get at Northwestern, Illinois, Rutgers. Then you got at Ohio State. That's a loss. Penn State, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Okay. Your best bet is to win your first 6 games to get to bowl eligibility and maybe a top 15 ranking. But after that, you run through into Rutgers, then Ohio State, Penn State, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota. All of those teams could be ranked when you play them in 2020. Now, you look at 21, it gets way worse. You get Illinois to open, then Buffalo, then you're at Oklahoma, you're at Michigan State, you got Ohio State at home, Northwestern, at Purdue, you get Michigan at home, Iowa at home, Southeastern Louisiana, Wisconsin at Minnesota. I don't see another way for you, baby. You're going to have to get it done in 2020, and it looks like you might going to have to get it done without your best receiver because he went into the portal, and what a shame that is. Egg on the face is your best wide receiver in school history going, nah, I got to get up out of here. Doses.